Wine came into her senses. She realized that she was hugging a stranger all this time, but she still didn't want to come out of his embrace. It felt so safe, which was all she needed after what happened to her. She stayed there without thinking about the consequences. Wine. Thank you. While he kept patting her back. After a few minutes, she finally broke the hug, and she was so shy that she couldn't meet eyes with him. He looked at her and tried to speak first to get rid of the awkwardness. He cleared his throat and said, Jungkook, you can live in my apartment for a day if you want. I mean, we would sleep in different rooms, of course. You can sleep in Minjun's. She looked above at him, finally. In fact, she glared at him. Jungkook. No, obviously not. You can sleep in my room. She cleared his throat loudly, making Jungkook stop mid-sentence. Jungkook looked at her with confusing eyes and said loudly, And I will sleep in Minjun's room. Let me complete at least. Fine. Oh. She looked down, her cheeks red. Jungkook, shall we go? Vine simply nodded because she was embarrassed to say yes and too scared to say no. Jungkook smiled and led her towards the way. The walk to Jungkook's apartment was quiet, but not uncomfortable. Vine kept her head down, still recovering from the events of the evening, while Jungkook stole quick glances at her, his mind racing with what to say. By the time they reached his door, he was more nervous than he cared to admit. Jungkook, welcome, he mumbled as he pushed the door open. It wasn't like she came here the first time, although the first time wasn't something to remember. It felt like a new beginning. Vine stepped inside hesitatingly, hugging her arms. Vine, thank you for this and everything else. We were literally strangers and you. Jungkook, well, we're not strangers anymore. The word strangers hurt him more than he expected it would. After a few seconds of silence, Jungkook gave her a soft smile. Jungkook, no need to thank me. Just make yourself comfortable. I will grab you some water. As he disappeared into the kitchen, Vine's eyes wandered. The space was simple, but told a lot about him. Textbooks stacked on the coffee table, a guitar leaning against the corner, and a few posters on the wall that hinted at his love for music. When he returned, he handed her the glass. Wine. Thanks. And suddenly her eyes landed on his hands. His knuckles were red and bruised. The skin was raw and scraped. She gasped as she stood immediately. Wine. Jungkook, your hands. He blinked, glancing down like he hadn't noticed. Jungkook. Oh, it's just from earlier. Don't worry about it. But she was already pulling him towards the couch. Wine. Sit. Do you have something to treat this? Jungkook. Wine, it's really not. Sit, she ordered firmly, her voice leaving no room for argument. Jungkook sat onto the couch, stunned by her sudden carefulness. She disappeared into the kitchen and returned moments later with a first aid kit which she found under the sink, just like he told her. Fine, give me your hand.